Devon and Cornwall are the two southwestern counties of England. The river Tamar separates them. They have quite a system of rivers, but the Dart is the only one which is navigable for any distance. Devonshire has an area of 2,604 square miles. Cornwall has 1,356. They are bounded on the northwest by the Bristol Channel and the Atlantic Ocean, and on the south and southwest by the English Channel. Running down the centre of both counties are the high rocky moorlands of granite and slaty rock. These moors are Exmoor, Dartmouth and Bodmin Moor. Exeter is the county town of Devon, Truro of Cornwall. These young people, members of a national saving cycle club, are on their way to the two counties. Entering Devonshire by the coast road, which runs along the entire length of the north coast, we find here rocks which sheer into the sea from a vast and dizzy height. A magnificence of rock which is comparatively rare. But none who visits this region should miss the old world village of Clovelly. It has been over-photographed, but it could not be overpraised, for it bears no resemblance to any other place in the world. With its steep cobbled main street on which only donkey traffic can operate, its wonderful old houses, and its quaint harbour, it is a real old-time smuggler's retreat. Leaving Clovelly, we strike inland across the centre of Devon by Exmoor. There we find something of the ancient history of Devon in the stone circles which date back to before the Bronze or Iron Age. Towards the northwest corner of the county, we come to Barnstaple, an important stronghold in Saxon times. Today it is the largest market town in North Devon. Here, every week, cattle and pigs are sold in the open market. The picture of these livestock serves as a reminder to us that across the moors in the centre and south of the county, the pastures yield fat cattle, and the dairies rich food. Here, the richness of the soil, coupled with a temperate and humid climate, promotes splendid crops. Apple orchards flourish and are important for the manufacture of cider, which is a famous Devonshire speciality. Since cider apples have to be crushed, they're not picked, but are knocked down from off the trees, for bruising them doesn't matter. Though most cider is made in modern factories, the old mill still survives. The apples are first crushed. The pulp is then made into what is known as a cheese, which is simply layers of crushed apple with straw in between them, built up under a press, in which the juice is squeezed out. It is then cider. Making our way to the south, we come suddenly upon the county town. In Exeter, all the history of the West is bound up. The cathedral and the old buildings make it a mecca for tourists. And we are reminded that Exeter stood solid where it stands today, before the first crossing of the Atlantic, before the landing of the Romans. Leaving Exeter, we go to the south coast to Torbay, on which stands the popular resort of Torquay. With its subtropical climate, it is certainly one of our finest holiday places, and the surrounding country is no less beautiful. Making our way along the south coast, we arrive at Dartmouth. From here, the Crusaders' fleet set out for Palestine in 1190. Today, Dartmouth is the home of the Royal Naval College. On our way to Cornwall, we pass through Plymouth. Englishmen like to think that above all races on the earth, they are sailors. Devon is a sailor's county, nowhere more typical than Plymouth, where Drake on the Bowling Green is still a landmark in our national history. His statue faces the fortified island bearing his name. From here, the English fleet sailed to meet the Spanish Armada. The Mayflower sailed to the New World. and from here sailed ships of our Royal Navy in 2 world wars. Leaving Plymouth, we crossed the border into Cornwall, a long, bony ridge of land stretching out into the Atlantic Ocean. We'll start our Cornish journey from Launceston. The people of Cornwall are descended from the early Britons. How do we know anything about these ancestors of ours? By the tombs they built for their dead, called quoits. They are found in many lonely places on Bodmin Moor. Their fortifications and their houses are to be found on every hand. By the discovery of lumps of half-smelted tin, we know that tin was worked in Cornwall at least 2,000 years ago. In the County Museum are the old wooden implements of the miners, which have been found in the moorland bogs. The Romans came to such parts as St. Michael's Mount to buy tin and carry it away. In recent years, ingots of tin of the period have been found in Falmouth harbour. Old Roman crosses are to be found in many parts of the county. After the Norman invasion in 1066, they built great castles to protect themselves. Buildings such as Launceston Castle are certainly Norman. By the middle of the 18th century, Cornwall was producing 3/4 of the copper and half the tin used in the world. Thousands of people were employed, but foreign competition gradually caused the mines to close. Today, a modern industry has sprung up on the Cornish moors, china clay. The china clay is worked in enormous pits. The clay is in tiny pockets in the rock formations and is washed out by means of high water pressure. The solution passes over filtering beds, where the clay sediment settles. It is later dried in special kilns. Much of it is shipped from the old port of Foy by barges and steamers. China clay is not only used in porcelain, but in paper making and in the textile trades. All who visit the south coast of Cornwall should go to the little village of Polperro. Not only because of its natural beauty, but because it stands for the Cornish fishing industry, which is probably no less old than mining. The fishermen are a sturdy race. There is no finer sight than that of the fishing boats returning with their catch and to watch the landing. What a shrieking and wailing of gulls as they circle overhead, while the fishermen gut and clean their catch, ready for market. Though there is much moor and rocky land in Cornwall, in sheltered places the farmland is rich and productive. Cornwall has 2 more ports. First comes Falmouth. Next in importance is the tidal port of Penzance. From here sail the steamers to the Scilly Isles. We are now almost at the most western part of England. A short distance away is Land's End. where great jagged rocks of granite jut out into the sea. This is the end of the journey, and now these young people are ready to hit the trail for home. And what a grand holiday they've had. Being so well looked after in the hostels, they've not spent anything like the amount of money that they have saved. By careful saving with their National Savings Group, they will build up a nest egg for another holiday next year.